This is Precalculus exercises 4.4 on page 291. So for 51 to 60, it's asking for a viewing window. Here's what I really want you to understand. Can you know where all of the asymptotes are, the holes, the x-intercepts, and what's going to happen at the end behavior as x approaches negative infinity, as x approaches positive infinity? All right, so for 51, it's x cubed plus 4x squared minus 5x over x squared minus 4x squared minus 9. So for that denominator, I know that something is going to happen at plus and minus 2, that it's going to be undefined, and plus and minus 3. Let's factor the numerator. I can factor out an x. When I factor out an x, I'm left with x squared plus 4x minus 5. So it's going to be x plus 5 times x minus 1. All right, and then this is going to be, there's no zeros of the denominator, there's zeros of the numerator. X squared minus 4, x squared minus 9. So the zeros, where it crosses the x-axis have to be plus and minus 1 and at 0. All right, so I'm gonna graph it. I'm gonna look at what happens right around that. So I'm gonna go to negative 1.5. I'm just curious, and go close in on y. So I did x min negative 1.5, x max positive 1.5. I just wanted to see what happens. Okay, it looks like it crosses the x-axis at 0, goes below it, and comes back up at 1. But the negative 1, it does not. All right, so the only zeros are x equals 0 and x equals 1. Wait, I factored this wrong. It's x plus 5. All right, so let's go back to negative 5 and see what happens. Just checking to see where, if it crosses. All right, so I'm going to go move my window back to maybe negative 5.5 just to see. And I'm hanging, oh yeah, it does. I'm going to go back. I'm going to show you. I'm going to go back maybe to, so my window for my x min is, I'm going to make negative 6, my x max 1.5, my y min negative 1, and my y max 1. All right, so look, you see how it crosses? It starts below the x-axis and comes up. And then right here, it goes below and then it comes back up. All right, just making sure all my x-intercepts are there. So I know I want to see for x, at least x greater than or equal to maybe negative 6, less than or equal. I want to go beyond 3, so maybe we'll just do 5. That's probably the window. So what's going to happen at plus and minus 2 and plus and minus 3? There's going to be a vertical asymptote. There are going to be vertical asymptotes because those are zeros of the denominator that are not zeros of the numerator. All right, so these are going to be vertical asymptotes. Let's talk about horizontal asymptote. Remember, horizontal asymptotes, vertical asymptotes never cross. Horizontal asymptotes tell us what happens with the end behavior as x approaches negative infinity and x approaches positive infinity. And it has to do with degrees of equations. So the degree of the numerator is x cubed. The degree of the denominator is x to the 4th, x squared times x squared. So when the degree of the numerator is less than the degree of the denominator, then we're going to have a horizontal asymptote at y equals 0. So it's going to be that x-axis. All right, so I'm going to make my window this for x, -6 to +5. And my y min, I guess I'm just going to try -5 to 5 and see what I have. Yeah, that's what I see. That's a sufficient window to see my end behavior. All right. Now, I wanted to also work, I think, number 57. 57. Because its horizontal asymptote was different. All right. So for number 57, it's 3x squared plus x minus 4 over 2x squared minus 5x. All right, I'm going to factor that denominator. I'm going to factor out an x, and then it's going to be 2x minus 5. So in the denominator, x equals 0 and x equals 5 halves is in the denominator. Let's factor that numerator. We're looking for factors of -12 such that we add them and it's +1. So it's going to be 4 and -3. We put that over the 3x, right? This becomes 1. So it's 3x plus 4 times x minus 1. So I don't have my x-intercepts, assuming they're not the same zeros of the denominator, will be x is -4/3 and +1. So I'm expecting to see x-intercepts here and asymptotes here. All right, so here are going to be my vertical asymptotes. These are going to be my zeros, right? My x-intercepts. My degrees in the numerator and denominator are the same. So I should expect to have a horizontal asymptote at the lead coefficients. Y equals 3 halves. All right, so let me plug this in my calculator. It's 3x squared plus x minus 4 divided by 2x squared minus 5x. All right, I want to hug in pretty close to the axis. So I'm going to go -5, 5, -5, 5 to see what I see as my window. So -5, 5 for both x and y. I don't see enough on the right-hand side, so I see my end behavior here is approaching 5 halves, but I don't really see here. All right, so this y equals 3 halves, not 5 halves, 3 halves, 1.5. So I'm going to make my window for x max to 10. Let's see if I can see a little bit more. I need to go a little higher. I'm going to go to 15. All right, so that's a little closer. That's what I would make my window. -5 for x, +15 for x max, and y, I just did -5, 5. So I see the vertical asymptotes, and I see that horizontal asymptote. And I see those 2 zeros. All right.